So it turns out your little toolkit has a better wrench, I believe, for getting the oil drain bolt off. We purchased this guy here, which is a 17 millimeter, which is the right size, but this is a 12-point box, and then this is just an regular open end. Nice wrench, but the 12-point doesn't quite hold as tight as your toolkit's 6-point. It's a regular hex, and so that holds onto that nut right there much better. Now that nut is located right under the bottom side of the bike, right beyond that hose right there. And if you can make out, you see that drip, drip, drip. It's just right beyond that little tab that's in front of, you can see the hose clamp back there. And sorry this turned upside down on you. Let me try and put it right side up for you. So, without dropping my phone into the pail of oil, you see the drip, drip, drip. And there's a tab there. Right behind that tab is where that bolt goes. Your drain bolt, which is right here. And it's got a washer on it. It's an aluminum crush washer. Typically you can reuse those. They might seep a little bit. You could probably pick one up for like $1 or less at a Honda dealer, but sometimes I'll just flip it around and crush it the opposite way. Now the filter, a little bit more of a challenge. That filter is in the very back of the engine, and you can see it right there, that black twist-on filter. Now I haven't yet got it off. I'm probably gonna have to stab it, and you can see dripping away there is on the opposite side where your drain bolt goes. I'm just letting it all drip out the oil. But got about 2.5 quarts there in that pan. But that filter, I tried to take this guy to it, your crescent wrench, or your adjustable channel lock, but it's not quite big enough, so I'm probably gonna have to stab it, or maybe wait for you to get back and maybe go down the road and buy a wrench, but the place might be closed by now, so I don't know. But that filter's gonna have to come off. It's just both the filter and the bolt, regular tightening and loosening sequence, clockwise for tightening, counterclockwise for loosening. And then once I get that filter off, and I got less than a drip a second, I'll put the new filter back on. Less than a drip of oil coming out of the engine a second. I'll put the filter back on and put that drain bolt back in. Then right over here, that guy there, I'll open it up now. Engine's kind of hot. That's the other thing I should mention. I brought the engine up to full operating temperature. Sometimes that helps. And you can see I'm having a little bit of a difficulty getting that loose, but I got it loose. Bringing everything up to operating temperature does two things. It makes it easier to crack bolts loose, because they crack loose easier when they're warm instead of cold. And then it also ensures that your engine oil is as thin as possible so that you can drain as much of that old oil out as you can. But it looks like you got a dipstick on here, so what I'd do is I'd clean off this dipstick and then fill in the recommended amount of oil. I think it's going to be about 2 quarts and maybe 1/4 of a quart, and then probably start the bike up, and then you can see maybe on this dipstick there's a top notch and a bottom notch. It's kind of hard to make out in this video, but what you want to do is make sure that the oil falls somewhere in between there. So you put about, I think, 2 quarts and 1/4 of a quart in, and then start it up, let it run for a minute, let the oil fill into like the pump and up through the head of the motor. Then shut the bike off, pull this guy out, wipe it down, and then stick it back in with the bike level. So you probably want to sit on it. You don't want it tipped over like it is now on the kickstand. And then screw it down in there, back it back out, and take a read. And you just want to make sure you fall somewhere between that upper and lower mark. Typically, if you want to be perfect, right in between, right at the middle point. But that should be it. All right, Jim, hope it works out for you. Hope you have a safe time, a good time riding. God bless.